Penny here, and today I'm going to be talking about the highest rated books on my TBR. So basically I took my Goodreads list and I sorted it by the average rating. So that's the rating that everybody else has given these books. I've also taken off all the books that aren't released yet because I don't think that that's fair. And I'm also going to do a separate video where I talk about the 10 books on my TBR that I'm the most excited about. And then at some point in the future, once I've read all these books, we'll check back in and we'll see whether I'm better at picking books for myself than the average person. I would hope so, but I guess we'll see. So starting with number 10, we have The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. So I believe this is a short story anthology that's kind of a companion to the bigger Grishaverse that Leigh Bardugo writes. And it's just a bunch of different myths and fairy tales from that world. I have seen a lot of people say that they enjoyed this, but I haven't even started reading the Grishaverse yet. Even though I know that you don't need to have read it in order to read this, I do want to at least read some Grishaverse books before I get into this one. But I do have the audiobook for the first one, so that will be soon. Then at number 9, we have Invisible Differences, a story of Asperger's adulting and living a life in full colour by Julie Duches. This is a graphic novel memoir, I believe, about a woman getting her diagnosis of Asperger's. I was gonna say I've heard people say good things about this, but like if it's on my TBR, you can pretty much guarantee that I've heard people say good things about it. But I am hoping to also learn something from this one. Then at number 8 we have A Thousand Roads Home by Carmel Harrington. This one is about a single mother and her son who are losing their home, I believe. The only other thing I know is that the main character is autistic. I'm trying not to read the synopsises of these because if I've added it to my TBR, I've already decided I want to read it, and if I read the synopsis, then sometimes you get information that spoils you, so I try not to read synopsises unless I have to. So most of this is based on the notes I made when I marked this to read. And I would say since it's about homelessness and autism, it's another one where not only have I heard it's good, but I'm hoping that it will broaden my perspective. The next couple are actually related. So at number 7 we have Karen's Roller Skates, which is a graphic novel illustrated by Katie Farina. These are the graphic novel adaptations of the Babysitter's Little Sister books that came out in the 90s, I believe. They were originally written by Annie Madden. I liked them when I was younger, and so I've been enjoying reading the graphic novel versions, even though they're just fun, they're nothing too serious. And obviously a lot of other people have been enjoying them too. And then number 6 is Christie's Big Day, which is the Babysitter's Club graphic novel adaptation. And this one is illustrated by Gail Galligan. So this one, again, the original back in the 80s was written by Annie Madden. I read it as a kid. I really love it. This one is all about Christie's mother getting remarried. Oh, and I should say the Babysitter's Little Sister one is about Christie's stepsister. I assume she's going to get some roller skates. Anyway, again, just some nostalgic fun. Then at number 5 we have the 5th book from the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan, and that is Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian. I have been reading the Percy Jackson series. I actually just finished number 3, Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. This is a series where I'm really just reading it so that I will know about a series that a lot of people experienced when they were younger and really enjoyed. It's another one that's just kind of fun, but nothing too mind-blowing. But again, a very popular book from everyone's childhood, so I would guess that that's why it's rated so highly. Oh, and if you haven't heard about the Percy Jackson series, it's about this boy who discovers that he is half human, half god, so one of the Greek gods is his father, and he goes to Camp Half-Blood where there's a whole bunch of other half-gods, and he goes on different quests. Then at number 4 we have the 2nd volume of My Hero Academia, which is a manga set in this world where a lot of people have different superpowers and you can essentially go to this school to learn to be a superhero. And we're following this young boy who unfortunately hasn't got any powers, however he does end up going to superhero school anyway. I read the 1st volume a little while ago and I did enjoy it, but I guess I didn't enjoy it enough to rush to read the next volume, so I am going to need to remember to do that. Then at number 3 we have Ray Bearer by Jordan Ifueko. So this one I've feel like I've kind of lost track of the synopsis. I believe it's a time travel one, so it's kind of twisty, and a lot of people have been talking about it, and I feel like everyone has a slightly different understanding of the synopsis, or people who've read it explain it in a slightly different way. But the main things I understand is that there is a woman living outside of time, and then there is a child, and perhaps she has to look after him. That's probably not right. But I like time travel. I've seen lots of good reviews about it, so I am interested in reading this one. Then at number 2 we have the second volume of The Sandman by Neil Gaiman, which is called Season of Mists. Now I have been reading through the Sandman comics, and to be honest, I'm kind of iffy on them. I'm not necessarily loving them. There's some cool concepts, but I always end up disappointed in the way they're executed, and I feel like because it's an older series from the 90s, there's some problematic elements that aren't really addressed. So I'm not loving it. I suspect the only reason it's so high on the list is that it is the 4th volume. So most people who get this far are going to be people that are really loving the series. Why am I so far through the series when I'm not loving it? Primarily because I really love the Lock and Key graphic novel series, and I have heard that there's going to be a crossover comic, and I want to read that, and I feel like to really get the most out of that I need to understand the Sandman world. Also, like, the concepts of the Sandman have potential. So I'm sort of hoping once I get to the later volumes, which were published later, that I'll enjoy them. But I really don't think this deserves the number 2 position. Then at number 1 we have the 5th volume of Full Metal Alchemist. And this is another one where I don't really like it as much as so many other people seem to. But this one I can see why it's so high rated, as opposed to like the Sandman ones where I think it's less justified. So this series is about these 2 brothers who unfortunately tried to use some alchemy and it went wrong, and now one of them has a metal arm and a metal leg, and the other one is just a soul stuck in a suit of armor, and they're traveling around Japan as part of the army trying to get their bodies back. I think for me, I'm just looking for something a little bit darker and a lot more of the alchemy, but it's actually just a more light and fluffy story about a group of friends. There are some dark bits for sure, but I just think it's not dark enough for me. Regardless, I will continue that series at some point, since it is the highest rated on my TBR. But again, it has that thing where it's 5 volumes into a series, so most people who get to the 5th volume really love it. I guess we'll see. Anyway, those are the top 10 highest rated books on my TBR. Overall, they have an average rating of 4.576 at the time that I'm filming this video. I'm sure it will change. And the books that I'm going to be including in my other video have an average rating of 3.972. There's about a half-star difference between the average population's pick and my personal picks. So it will be interesting to see which ones I like better. If you have read any of the books that I've talked about in this video, I would love to know your prediction. Do you think I'm gonna like them or not? Did you enjoy them? Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are having a good day, and I will see you next time.